At level 1, you have a message and you believe every word of it. At level 5, you have an inner circle and they believe every word of you. At level 9, you have a compound and a legal team, and people who have signed over their savings and their children's savings, and they call it a gift and they mean it. This is your life at every stage as a cult leader. And the most important thing to understand before we begin, you did not start as a villain. Level 1. You have been through something, not metaphorically. Actually, a loss, a breakdown, a period of searching that took you somewhere most people have not been and brought you back with something. A framework, a way of seeing, a set of ideas about why people suffer and what they could do instead, and why the world operates the way it does, and how a person might step outside that operating system if they understood what you now understand. You did not invent these ideas entirely. You synthesized them from philosophy and psychology and spirituality and your own experience and the 3 years you spent reading everything you could find. And the year after that, when everything you read started connecting. The synthesis is genuinely yours. The insight is real. The feeling of having found something that works for you, in your life, in the specific suffering you had, is not manufactured. This is the thing that makes level 1 the most important stage, because what you have at level 1 is real. Not complete, not without its blind spots, not something that should necessarily be applied to other people's lives wholesale, but real. You start talking about it, in conversations, at dinner, with friends who are going through things and who notice that you seem different now, calmer, more certain, like someone who has found the floor under everything. They ask what happened. You tell them. And something in the telling feels like the most alive you have been in years. Level 2. The conversations are not enough anymore. Someone suggests you speak at a thing, a community event, a wellness gathering, a pop-up series where different people share different frameworks for living. You say yes. You stand in front of 30 people in a rented room with good lighting and you talk for 40 minutes, and when you finish there is a silence before the applause that tells you something landed. After, people come up to you, not to be polite, to tell you something specific, that what you said described something they have been feeling for years without language for it, that they want to know more, that they want to hear you again. You do not have a name for what you are doing yet. You are not thinking about what you are doing. You are thinking about what you are saying and whether it is true and how to say it more clearly next time. This is the level where the gift is most visible and least dangerous. You are a person with something real to communicating it. The room needs what you have. You need the room. That exchange, that mutual need, is clean at level 2. It will not always be this clean. Level 3. There are people now, not an audience, people. Specific ones who come back, who bring other people, who reference things you said in conversation weeks later and who have started changing their lives around the ideas. One of them quit their job. One of them left a relationship. One of them moved to be closer to wherever you were gathering. You did not ask any of them to do these things. You told yourself a story, that the ideas have power and people are simply responding to the power of the ideas and their own agency and their own choices. This is partially true. The part that is not fully true is the part where your presence, your specific presence, the way you carry the ideas, the way you look at people when they speak, the way you remember details about their lives and reflect them back, is doing something to people that the ideas alone would not do. You are not just a teacher anymore. You are becoming a figure. And figures operate differently than teachers. Teachers point away from themselves. Figures become the point. The shift is so gradual you do not notice it. You are too busy preparing for the next gathering. The room is getting bigger. People are asking if there is somewhere to register. Someone has built a website. You did not ask them to build the website. You did not stop them either. Level 4. The ideas develop. As ideas do when a person spends enough time with them and enough people are responding to them and there is enough feedback from enough lives being changed to feel like confirmation. But something else develops alongside the ideas. A boundary. Not stated explicitly. Never stated explicitly. But present in the way you speak about what is available here versus what is available out there. The way you describe the mainstream, therapy, religion, the existing frameworks. as incomplete, as missing something, as addressing the symptom rather than the root. The implication is clear even without the words. What is here is different. What is here is more complete. What is here is what those other things were trying to get to and did not quite reach. And this specific move is the architectural shift. Because now leaving does not just mean missing the community. Leaving means losing access to the knowledge, the special knowledge that solves the specific problem that brought every person in the room here in the first place. You have not made the knowledge up. You believe in it completely, but you have made it exclusive. And exclusivity is a leash, a very gentle one. At this stage, almost invisible. Level 5. There are too many people now to hold equally. This is genuinely true. The gathering has grown. You cannot give the same attention to 200 people that you gave to 30. Something has to change structurally. So there is an inner circle, the people who have been here longest, who understand the ideas most deeply, who have given the most time, energy, presence, and increasingly money in the form of donations and program fees and retreats that cost more than some people's monthly income. They have access to you that others do not. Smaller gatherings, personal conversations, a sense of proximity to the source that is experienced as a profound privilege. And it is a privilege, but it is also a mechanism. Because the people in the inner circle now have something the outer circle wants. And the outer circle now has a goal that is not just understanding the ideas. The goal is getting closer to you. You have become the destination, not the map, the destination. And you have started barely at the edges, to enjoy it. Not in a way you would name out loud, but in a way that has begun to inform decisions. Who gets access, who does not. What is required to move from one ring to the next. The structure that was logistical at the beginning is becoming something else. Level 6. The people in your community start to spend less time outside it. Again, not because you issued an instruction, because of something subtler than an instruction. The ideas have developed to a point where the outside world is framed, consistently, repeatedly in the language of the gatherings, as a source of interference, of noise, of the exact patterns of thinking that brought everyone here in pain in the first place. Families who do not understand the work are described as people who cannot understand yet, not bad people, just people operating in the old framework. Old friends who express concern are described as people reacting to the change in you from fear. Their concern is reframed as evidence of their own limitation rather than information worth receiving. Mainstream media, mainstream medicine, mainstream psychology, all incomplete, all missing the root, all useful to a point and then pointing in the wrong direction. The community is the one place where the full picture is available. Why would you spend your energy somewhere with a partial picture when you could be somewhere with the full one? Nobody says leave your family. But slowly, in increments that are each individually defensible, the community becomes the primary world. And you, the person at the center of the community, become the primary relationship for dozens of people, then hundreds. You tell yourself, this is the work finding its scale. Level 7. You have developed an understanding of a specific thing, what people are afraid of, not in general. Specifically, each person, the fear that brought them here, the fear that keeps them here, the fear that would activate if you needed to correct someone's behavior or redirect someone's loyalty or address a situation where someone was asking questions that were not useful to the group. You do not think of this as control. You think of this as guidance, pastoral care, the shepherd knowing the flock. But what you are doing, what you are actually doing, is running a behavioral system that uses the specific fears and needs of specific individuals to maintain their position within a structure that serves you. Someone asks a hard question in a gathering. You do not answer it. You turn it back on them. You ask what in their past creates the need for that kind of external validation. What wound is being expressed through the resistance? The room watches. The person retreats. The question disappears. Two things have happened. The question has been neutralized, and everyone in the room has learned what happens when a question is asked. They will not ask questions. They will come to you privately when they have doubts, which means you control the context and the framing of every doubt this community is permitted to have. The questions still exist. They just all run through you now. Level 8, there is a place now, a property, a compound, a retreat center, whatever you call it. There is a physical location that belongs to the community and where many of the community now live full-time. The location was funded by the community. The location is owned, legally, on paper, by a structure connected to you. People moved their lives here, gave up leases, brought their children. Some of them sold things to come. Some of them gave the money to the community as an offering because contributing to something larger than yourself is part of the work, and the work requires resources. Inside the compound, the world outside has receded to almost nothing. Information is curated, not banned. Curating is not banning. There is simply more useful information available here than out there, and time and attention are finite, and it makes sense to direct them toward what serves the work. Sleep is managed, not controlled, a schedule that supports the spiritual practice. The practice requires early rising and communal meals and evening gatherings, and the days are full in a way that leaves very little space for the kind of private reflection that tends to produce doubt. You have a residence within the compound that is separate from the others, not as a privilege, as a necessity. Your energy is a resource for everyone here, and it must be protected. This is what you tell them. This is also what you tell yourself. Level 9. There are different kinds of endings. Some end with the leader dying inside the compound with the followers who chose not to leave. Some end with an investigation, federal or otherwise, financial crimes, labor violations, the legal structure that held the property beginning to unspool under scrutiny. It was never designed to survive. Some end with a defection, one person from the inner circle who leaves and talks, then another, then a journalist, then a documentary, then the phone calls from family members who say we have been trying to reach them for 3 years. Some leaders go to prison, some disappear, some rebrand. That last one is worth sitting with, some rebrand. Because the specific skills developed across these 9 stages, the reading of rooms, the management of belief, the architecture of need, the understanding of what people are afraid of and what they want and how to position yourself as the answer to both simultaneously, those skills do not disappear. They are transferable to a wellness brand, a coaching business, a political movement, a media company, a church. The container changes. The structure inside the container is the same structure, and you, the person at level 9, are the same person who stood in a rented room at level 2 and felt the room go quiet when they spoke. You still feel it. That part has never left. The question that the people who loved the level 1 version of you have never been able to stop asking, and which you have never been able to fully answer, is whether the level 1 version of you was ever entirely separate from the level 9 version, whether the seed was always there, or whether the seed was planted by the room, by the silence, by the applause that followed the silence. That question does not have a comfortable answer, which is why you stopped asking it a long time ago. Every cult leader starts with a message. Every cult starts with a need. The message and the need find each other and something grows in the space between them. Whether that something becomes a community or a cage depends on one thing above everything else. Whether the person at the center is willing to be questioned, not tested, not challenged for sport, questioned, honestly, by someone who loves them. The moment that stops being welcome is the moment to look very carefully at what is being protected. Subscribe. Tell me which level scared you the most, and drop the next topic below.